right, so this is going to be another movie review. This one's called Smokey and the Bandit, 1977. This is going to be another Adrian mention. It figures that Adrian likes this one. I think he recommended this one when I was doing my Cannonball Run review. This movie is way better than Cannonball Run. I love this flick. I'm giving it 5 out of 5 stars. He's got a Confederate flag on his 1977 Pontiac Trans Am license plate. He's got a Confederate flag, and he doesn't even have a redneck accent, except for when he's on the CB. That's a big 10-4. Eastbound and down. All right. Smokey and the Bandit is a 1977 U.S. action comedy film starring Burt Reynolds, Sally Field. She's great. My mom used to like her as the Flying Nun. Jackie Gleason, Jerry Reed, Pat McCormick, Paul Williams, and Mike Henry. The directorial debut of stuntman Hal Needham. The film follows Bo Bandit Darville Reynolds and Cletus Snowman Snow Reed, two bootleggers attempting to illegally transport 400 cases of Coors beer from Texarkana to Atlanta. While the Snowman drives the truck carrying the beer, the Bandit drives a 1977 Pontiac Trans Am, which was unknown up to this point. I think Burt Reynolds sold a lot of Trans Am cars for General Motors to distract law enforcement called blocking and keep the attention off the Snowman. During the run, they are pursued by Texas County Sheriff Buford T. Justice, played by Gleason. I love Sally Field. I love Jackie Gleason. Burt Reynolds is kind of doing his routine. Whatever kind of laugh he does. Anyways, Smokey and the Bandit was the second highest grossing domestic film of 1977 in the United States. Let's see what the movie poster says. What we have here is a total lack of respect for the law. Jackie Gleason pointed his finger at the bandit. The bandit is carrying Sally Field in a wedding dress while she's holding a CB, and then there's that mutt dog, that mangy mutt dog right underneath. Oh my God! And Burt Reynolds is kicking it some motorcycle with his cowboy boot. Oh man, what a great movie poster! Anyways, wealthy. I got to tell you about the week I had. It's going to be a lot of Catholic stuff in this video because I had such a crazy week. Oh my gosh! But it's starting to end well. I don't know what to expect tomorrow, but I have a feeling that things are going to really pick up in my life. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do movie reviews if I get married a third time and I have like 10 kids with this woman. I'll tell you about it later. Anyways, wealthy Texan Big Enos Burdett and his son Little Enos have sponsored a racer in Atlanta's Southern Classic, and they want to celebrate in style when he wins. So they are seeking a trucker willing to bootleg Coors beer to Atlanta for their refreshment. Apparently, there's some stupid law that says you can't transport Coors beer across state lines or something. I don't know where they come up with this stuff. Only the director knows about all this stuff. Hal Needham. He's in the bonus features and he tries to explain everything, but I still don't get it. Anyways, they find local legend Bo Bandit Darville at a truck rodeo at Lakewood Fairgrounds, and they offer him $80,000 to haul 400 cases of Coors from Texarkana, the closest place it could be legally sold at the time, to Atlanta in 28 hours. The bandit takes the bet on the risky and unprecedented task, and he recruits his friend Cletus Snowman Snow to drive the truck, while Bandit drives a black Pontiac Trans Am as a blocker to divert attention away from the truck and its illegal cargo. What a concept. Oh, man. This movie is great. The perfect redneck movie, this one, which is why Adrian likes it. The pair arrives in Texarkana 1 hour early, and they load up the truck, but just as they head back, Carrie, a runaway bride, she's played by Sally Field. She's running away from this Sheriff Buford T. Justice's son. I don't know what happened exactly. That was kind of a hole in the plot, I guess you could say. Anyways, she intercepts Bandit and she jumps in his car, unwittingly making him an indirect target of Sheriff Buford T. Justice, a career Texas lawman whose witless son, Junior, was to have married Carrie. That's all we know. She ran out in the middle of the marriage or something. I don't know what happened. Anyways, Buford with Junior along engages in a high-speed pursuit, doggedly chases Bandit all the way to Georgia to retrieve Carrie and to arrest the bandit, while various comical mishaps causes cruiser to disintegrate on the way. It's a great ending. I love that ending. Bandit attracts more police attention across Dixie as Snowman barrels towards Atlanta with the contraband beer. There's so many great things about this. They literally give the Sheriff Buford the finger in this one. Sally Fields sticks up her middle finger. That was great. But they are helped en route by many colorful characters via CB radio. Neither Buford nor any other lawman know of Snowman's illegal manifest, while Bandit is likewise unaware that Buford is chasing him because of Carrie, whose jumpiness inspires Bandit to give her the CB handle frog. Sally Field is a frog. Just after re-entering Georgia, Snowman is rescued by Bandit and being stopped by a Georgia State Patrol motorcycle trooper as state and local police intensely pursue Bandit with roadblocks and a helicopter to track his movements. With 4 miles left, Bandit, discouraged by the unexpected mounting attention, is ready to give up. But Snowman, who initially thought they would fail, takes the lead, and he smashes through the roadblock at the fairgrounds main entrance. They arrive with 10 minutes to spare, but instead of taking the payoff, Carrie and Bandit accept a double or nothing offer from Little Eno's, the challenge to run up to Boston's bring back clam chowder in 18 hours. They quickly escape one of Big Enos's 13 Cadillacs as police flood the racetrack. After and the ending is great. I'll just say that. I don't want to spoil the ending, but it was great. Needham originally planned the film as a low-budget B-movie with the production cost of $1 million. With Reed as the bandit, Needham had great difficulty getting any studios or producers to take his project seriously, being better known in the film industry as a stuntman. He obtained the attention of studios and aimed the film at a more mainstream release after, we call it lamestream on this channel, after his friend Reynolds read the script and he agreed to portray the bandit, with Reed now portraying the bandit's friend, the Snowman. Reed would eventually play the bandit in Smokey and the Bandit Part 3, in which Reynolds only appeared in a cameo near the end. At the time, Reynolds was the top box office star in the world. Money talks, and you know what walks. Reed would have been a better bandit, I think. He was great as the Snowman. I'd be interested to see the third movie. I'll just put it out there, and then Adrian will recommend it whenever he wakes up from his nap, from his alcohol-induced nap. He probably took a shower, he got his hair wet, and his pillow is all mildewy. We're making fun of Adrian today. But it's only starting. We're going to get into the Catholic stuff very soon. Anyways, I'm having too much fun today. In the original script, Carrie was called Kate, while Big Enos and Little Enos were called Kyle and Dickie. The Bandit's Car was a second-generation Trans Am, and the price for competing the run was a new truck rather than $80,000. Reynolds revealed in his autobiography that Needham had written the first draft script on legal pads. Upon showing it to his friend, Reynolds told Needham that it was the worst script he had ever read, but that he would still make the movie. Most of the dialogue was improvised on set. This is great. That song, bitch. Jackie Gleason got that son bitch thing from Burt Reynolds' father. I learned that in the bonus features. Burt Reynolds' father was one of these career police officers or something. So a lot of the mannerisms of Jackie Gleason come from Burt Reynolds' father. Universal Studios bankrolled Smokey and the Bandit for $5.3 million, figuring it was a good risk. Yeah, I guess so. Smart investment, Universal Studios. Just 2 days before production was about to begin, Universal sent a hatchet man to Atlanta to inform Needham that the budget was being trimmed by $1 million, with Reynolds' salary at $1 million. Needham was left with only $3.3 million to make the film. Needham and assistant director David Hamburger, what a name, David Hamburger, spent 30 hours revising the shooting schedule. Buford T. Justice was the name of a real Florida highway patrolman known to Reynolds' father. Here we go about Burt Reynolds' father again, who was once police chief of Riviera Beach, Florida. His father was also the inspiration for the word "son bitch" used in the film, a variation of the phrase "son of a," you know what? Son of a female dog, that according to Reynolds, he uttered quite often. Gleason was given free rein to ad-lib dialogue and make suggestions. This is great. It was his idea to have Junior alongside him throughout the film, in particular the scene where who's going to hold your hat? That was a great line. In particular, the scene where Sheriff Justice unknowingly encounters the bandit in a roadside diner, a choke and puke, in CB lingo, was not in the original story, but rather Gleason's idea. The film's theme song, Eastbound and Down, was written virtually overnight by Reed, who also played the snowman. He gave Needham a preview of the song, and getting no reaction, offered to rewrite it. In response, Needham told Reed that he liked the song so much that if Reed changed even a word or note, Needham would choke him. It would become one of Reed's biggest hits and his signature song. The film features the custom clothing and costuming of Niver Western wear of Fort Worth, Texas. Niver provided much of the Western attire worn in the film, as well as the custom-made sheriff's uniforms, waist size 64 inches, that Gleason wore throughout the film. What a funny character, that Jackie Gleason. Oh my gosh. He's so good. Well, made to take advantage of the ongoing 1970s CB radio fad, the film added to the craze through the film Moonrunners 1975. Though the film Moonrunners 1975, which I have not seen, which was reworked later into the popular long-running television series of the Dukes of Hazzard, is the precursor to this television series, The Dukes of Hazzard, 1979 to 1985, from the same creator and with many identical settings and concepts. The popularity of Smokey and the Bandit and similar films helped the Dukes series on the air. 3 actors from the main cast of the Dukes of Hazzard appear in small uncredited roles in Smokey and the Bandit: Ben Jones, John Schneider, and Sonny Schroyer, who played a police officer. Both. In return, Reynolds portrayed Boss Hogg, originally portrayed by Sorrel Book in the film adaptation of The Dukes of Hazzard 2005. Which I have not seen. Or maybe I've seen it. I don't know. Is that one of the ones that Symphony Chu recommended to me when I was much younger and dating like 100 women? I can't remember. Anyways, Reynolds is referenced by name in several early episodes of the series. Before Gleason was cast in the film, Richard Boone was originally considered for the role of Buford T. Justice. Sally Field only accepted the part after her agent advised her that she needed a big movie role on her resume because The Flying Nun wasn't cutting it. Universal executives initially resisted casting Field, claiming she was not attractive enough, but Reynolds insisted on her involvement. She looks decent to me. Field enjoyed making the film, but remembers that virtually the entire project was improvised. We like improvisation on this channel. My videos are all about improvisation. We do it on the fly here. We used to do a lot more, but now we just read from LinkedIn page. And we insert our own comments along the way. Principal photography of the film began on August 30th, 1976. The movie was originally filmed in Georgia, in the cities of McDonough, Jonesboro, and Lithonia. The scenes set in Texarkana were filmed in Jonesboro and the surrounding area, and many of the chase scenes were filmed in surrounding areas of Highway 54 between Fayetteville and Jonesboro for a majority of the driving scenes. Monday's Mill Road, Main Street in Jonesboro, and Georgia State Route 400 I-85 Pleasant Hill exit and in McDonough. However, the scene where they drive through the Shell gas station was filmed in Ojai, California, on the corner of Ojai Avenue and El Paseo Road. Much of the surrounding scene comes from that immediate vicinity. The scene featuring the racetrack was filmed at Lakewood Speedway at the old Lakewood Fairgrounds on Atlanta's south side. The roller coaster in the movie was the Greyhound. It had not been used for some time and was repainted in the film. It was destroyed in Smokey and the Bandit 2, another one I have not seen, which also has Burt Reynolds, Sally Field, Jackie Gleason, and Dom DeLuise. And a flashback scene in part 3, the area around Helen, Georgia was used for some locations. The scene where Sheriff Justice's car has a door knocked off by a passing semi-truck was shot on Georgia State Route 75, 3 miles, 4.8 kilometers north of Helen. The tow truck driver was a local garage owner, Berlin Wyke. Reynolds and Field began dating during the filming. Cool. This is a case where art imitates life. I think Burt Reynolds really likes Sally Field, and he pushed for her to get the role. That's why they started dating. Which leads me to another situation about my own life. I'm kind of in a similar situation, but I'll describe it to you later. You may have heard me talking about this lady on previous videos, but Adrian usually watches most of my videos. Karate Man kind of hit or miss. Adrian kind of hit or miss, but those two Australian dudes watch most of my channels, most of my movies, I mean. According to the interview with Susie McLiver Ewing on the Retro Zest podcast, she was picked to play the role of Hot Pants Hilliard after the Dailies footage shot in the Atlanta area of the original actress playing the role was inadvertently destroyed on its way from Atlanta to Los Angeles. The new Hot Pants scene had to be quickly refilmed as a part of the second unit in the San Fernando Valley. It was shot at a drive-in restaurant near Hanson Dam named Baby Beef Burgers, which has since been demolished. The same restaurant was used for a scene in the 1983 Stephen King movie Christine, which I have reviewed, which was ultimately cut in the final film. It can be viewed as a deleted scene on the DVD release of Christine. I think I may have seen that. Hal Needham saw an advertisement for the soon-to-be released 1977 Pontiac Trans Am, and he knew right away that it would be the Bandit's Car, or as Needham referred to it, character in the movie. He contacted Pontiac. An agreement was made that 4 1977 Trans Ams and 2 Pontiac Le Mans four-door sedans would be provided for the movie. I think they destroyed all 4 Trans Ams, and it was barely moving by the time it jumped off the bridge. Anyways, the Trans Ams were actually 1976 model cars, and with 1977 front ends from 1970 to 1976. Both the Firebird Trans Am and the Chevrolet Camaro have 2 round headlights, and in 1977 the Firebird Trans Am was changed to 4 rectangular headlights, and the Camaro remained unchanged. The Camaro is a piece of crap car. Anyways, the decals were changed to 1977 style units as evidenced by the engine sign callouts on the hood scoop being in liters rather than liters. As evidenced by engine size callouts on the hood scoop being in liters rather than cubic inches, as had been the case in 1976. The hood scoop on these cars says 6.6 liter, which in 1977 would have denoted an old 403 equipped car on a non-W72 180 HP version of the 400 Pontiac engine. The cars were 1976 models. The engines fitted to them were 455 CI power plants. The last year these engines were offered for sale before withdrawal. All four of the cars were badly damaged during production, one of which was all but destroyed during the jump over the dismantled Mulberry Bridge. The Trans Am used for said jump was equipped with the booster rocket, the same type that was used by Evel Knievel during his failed Snake River Canyon jump. Needham served as the driver for the stunt in place of Reynolds, while Lada St. Edmund was in the same car in place of Field. By the film's ending, the final surviving Trans Am and Le Mans were both barely running, and the other cars had become parts donors to keep them running. This gives rise to various continuity errors with Justice's patrol car, which during some chase sequences is shown with a black rear fender, which then reverts to the car's bronze color again in later scenes when it's finally torn off along the car's roof and the impact with the girder. The missing fender still reappears later on in the film. The Bandit'S Car is a 1974 Cadillac Eldorado convertible. What a car. I would love to have that car. 1974 Cadillac Eldorado. Probably gets like 5 miles a gallon. Painted in a candy red color scheme and is seen briefly at the beginning of the movie and the final scene as the bandit, the snowman, Fred the dog, and Frog used to make their escape. 3 Kenworth W90 900A short frame semi trucks driven by Reed, which were equipped with 30-inch sleepers. 2 units were 1974 models, as evidenced by standard silver Kenworth emblems on the truck grille, and 1 unit was a 1973 model, as evidenced by a gold-painted Kenworth emblem on the truck's grille, signifying Kenworth's 50 years in business. The paint code for each truck was coffee brown with gold trims, and the 48-foot 15-meter mural trailer used was manufactured by Hobbs Trailers in Texas with non-operational Thermo King refrigeration unit. This is obvious because no fuel tank on the underside of the trailer to power the refrigerator unit, and the unit is never heard running. In 1977, Coors was unavailable for sales in East Oklahoma. Its lack of additives and preservatives meant that Coors could spoil in 1 week without refrigeration, explaining the film's 28-hour deadline. A 1974 Time magazine article explained that Coors was so coveted for its lack of stabilizers and preservatives, and Coors Banquet beer had a brief renaissance. Now we understand all the inner workings of the redneck director thinking. It took us a long time to get through the Wikipedia page, and I'm not even done yet. All right, future President Gerald Ford, after a trip to Colorado, hid it in his luggage to take it back to Washington, D.C. President Dwight D. Eisenhower had a steady supply airlifted by Air Force to Washington. Carl Yastrzemski of the Boston Red Sox, also known as Yaz, I think his son plays for the San Francisco Giants, would bring several cases after playing on the West Coast by stashing them in the equipment trunks on the team's plane. I forgot what position Carl Yastrzemski Yaz played. Was it right field? Anyways, Frederick Ammon smuggled it from Colorado to North Carolina, and he sold it for 4 times the retail price. Coors is still brewed just outside Denver, Colorado. It is now sold in all states as Coors ships it in refrigerated train cars. and bottled locally and sold in different parts of the country, including the eastern U.S. states. Coors used to be my favorite beer when I drank. I no longer drink, of course, but it used to be my favorite beer. Theme music, Eastbound and Down, was sung and co-written by Reed, credited under his birth name, Jerry Hubbard, and Dick Feller. It became Reed's signature song and is on multiple albums, including Country Legends, and his live album, Jerry Reed Live. Still, in 1991, it was arranged for orchestra by Kraft and Beck and recorded by Eric Kunzel and the Cincinnati Pops Orchestra for the album Down on the Farm. Several other groups, such as U.S. rock band Tonic and the UK-based country cover band We Be Plowin', have also covered it. Reed also penned and performed the song for the opening credits, entitled Legend, which tells some of the bandits' escapades before the events of the film, and the ballad "The Bandit," which is in several versions in the movie. And on the soundtrack, Bill Justice is the first name on the credits for the soundtrack, and he comprised and arranged the original music throughout the film. Musicians such as Biggie Adair and George Tidwell played on the soundtrack. 5-string banjo player Bobby Thompson is prominent toward the end of Eastbound and Down. The soundtrack album was released in 1977 on vinyl, cassette, and 8-track through MCA Records. This page is long, like my examination of conscience on Sunday. Smoking the Bandit was a sleeper hit. It premiered at Radio City Music Hall in New York City, where it performed badly. It then opened in just the south of the United States over Memorial Day weekend, and it grossed $2,689,851 in 386 theaters. Not bad. By the end of June, it had played in major southern markets, including Charlotte, Atlanta, Jacksonville, New Orleans, Memphis, Dallas, and Oklahoma City, grossing $11.9 million. Now that's more like it. It opened in other northern states at the end of July with an original budget of $5.3 million, cut to $4.3 million 2 days before initial production. The films eventually grossed $126,777,428 in North America, making it the second highest grossing movie of 1977. Only Star Wars earned more, with $221.3 million. The worldwide gross is estimated at over $300 million. That's a good return on investment. That's like almost 100%. No, more than that. That's like 1,000%. Anyways, Reynolds said in 2015 that he most enjoyed this film and had the most fun making it of his career. It's the best film of his that I've seen so far. Critical reception was largely positive. On the review aggregation website Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 74% rating based on 35 reviews. The site's consensus states, not much in the head, but plenty behind the hood. Smoking the Bandit is infectious fun with plenty of car wrecks to keep your eyes glued. Film critic Leonard Maltin gave the film a good rating, 3 stars out of a possible 4, and characterized it as about as subtle as The Three Stooges, but a classic compared to the sequel and countless rip-offs which followed. So I take it according to Leonard Maltin, the sequels aren't very good. We'll see about that. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know if I'll watch the sequels. I probably will after I get comments on my channel for this video. In his review in the Chicago Tribune, Gene Siskel gave the film 2 stars and complained that the film failed to tell the audience when the clock started in the beer run, thus reducing suspense. He claimed that the bandit is never made aware of frogs leaving Junior at the altar. Yeah, I had a problem with that, which is why Bandit continually asks why Texas sheriff is chasing him. It's like she wants to get into trouble, Sally Field. That's why she's keeping it from him. The film's editors, Walter Hannerman and Angelo Ross, were nominated for the Academy Award for Best Film Editing. Alfred Hitchcock claimed the film was one of his favorites. Upon meeting Reynolds, Billy Bob Thornton told him that Americans from the region where the film is set consider the film to be less cinema and more documentary. Smokey and the Bandit was released in the UK on August 28th, and it was a success there, garnering positive reviews. American Film Institute lists AFI's 100 Years, 100 Laughs nominated, AFI's 100 Years, 100 Thrills nominated, AFI's 100 Years, 100 Heroes and Villains, Bandit Bo Darville nominated hero, Beaufort T. Justice nominated villain. After the debate, the debut of the film, the Pontiac Trans Am became wildly popular, with sales almost doubling within 2 years of the film's release. It outsold its Chevy Camaro counterpart for the first time. It's probably a better car. Reynolds was given was that the Trans Am was driven by that chubby white that chubby white blonde Stevie Nicks fanatic in another movie that I didn't like. Anyways, Reynolds was given the 1977 vehicle used during promotion of the film as a gift, though the car itself never actually appeared in the film. Because of the popularity of the film and the sales success of Trans Am, the president of Pontiac, Alex Mayer, promised to supply Reynolds with the Trans Am each year. Due to his financial difficulties in 2014, Reynolds put his vast collection of artwork and memorabilia up for auction, including the Trans Am. High estimates for the car were up to $80,000, but the actual sale price was $450,000. Also up for auction was a go-kart replica of the car, which sold for nearly $14,000. In 2015, a Florida-based automobile customization company built 77 Trans Ams modeled after the car that Reynolds drove in the film. These new models were built of the same Camaro platform, came with the Pontiac Arrowhead, Flaming Bird, and Bandit logos, and the instrument panels, center consoles, and hood scoops emulating their 1977 counterparts, and were signed by Reynolds. Some differences included the use of a supercharged 454 CID 7.4 liter Chevrolet sourced engine that put out 840 HP and 4 round headlights, which appeared on the 1967 69 Firebird Trans Ams only. The actual 1977 81 models had rectangular headlights. The Diablo sandwich ordered by Sheriff Justice in the Arkansas barbecue restaurant scene has entered popular culture as a minor reference to the film. Though no authoritative source identifies the composition of the sandwich, there are several possibilities. The segment of the CMT program, Real Eats, used a Sloppy Joe-style recipe consisting of seasoned ground beef, corn, and sour cream. Another proposal based more closely on images from the film and the shooting location of the scene at the Old Hickory House restaurant in Georgia is pulled pork and hot sauce on a hamburger bun. Other sources in East Texas, from whence Sheriff Justice hails, are familiar with the popular regional delicacy known as Diablo sandwich. The Diablo sandwich. It consists of any of the various Louisiana-style hot sauces on Texas toast-style bread, alongside the fourth most famous product of Pittsburgh, Texas, behind Pilgrim's Pride, Cavender's, and Carroll Shelby, Pittsburgh hot links. Oh, that sounds good. I want this version of the Diablo sandwich. Louisiana-style hot sauces, Texas toast-style bread, and Pittsburgh hot links. That sounds like heartburn right there. The first run in 2007 to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the movie The Bandit Run was the brainchild of Dave Hall, owner of a Restore a Muscle car. A group of Trans Am owners and fans of the movie take part in an annual road trip from Texarkana to Jonesboro, recreating the route taken by the characters in the film. The Bandit Run quickly became a fixture, celebrating the 40th anniversary of the movie with the special 2017 screening of the film, attended by Reynolds, and a recreation of the jump undertaken by the Bandit and Frog across the river. In 2014, petroleum company Mobil 1 produced television commercials featuring then NASCAR driver Tony Stewart, closely based on the film, called Smoke in the Bandit, and playing on Stewart's nickname. Called Smoke in the Bandit and playing on Stewart's nickname, the commercials featured him as the Bandit opposite commentators Darrell Waltrip as a snowman and Jeff Hammond as Buford T. Justice. The story replaced the Coors beer with Mobil 1 products. The advertisements lampoon the film and it features a Pontiac Trans Am and a cover version of the song Eastbound and Down. The commercials were produced after Stewart mentioned that the movie was one of his favorites. All right. When Smoking the Bandit first aired on U.S. network television in the early 80s, censors were faced with the challenge of toning down the raw language of the original film. Why is this movie PG if it's got foul language? I don't understand. I was having this discussion with Father Mike on Monday night. Anyways, for this purpose, they overdubbed dialogue deemed offensive, which was common practice. The most noted change made for the network broadcast was the replacing of Buford's often spoken phrase, "son bitch," a contraction of son of a B word, usually in reference to the bandit, with the phrase "scum bum." This phrase achieved a new level of popularity with children in the 2007 Hot Wheels release of the 1970s Firebird Trans Am has "scum bum" emblazoned on its tail. Except for Gleason, the original actors mostly redubbed their lines for the television version. Actor Henry Corden, who played Fred Flintstone after original performer Alan Reed died the same year the film was released, was used to replace a considerable amount of Sheriff Justice's dialogue. In the UK, the heavily dubbed version was shown for several years, particularly by the BBC. However, in more recent years, the original version has been shown on ITV, a commercial channel, usually with the stronger languages edited out, often quite awkwardly. The theatrical release has a few lines deleted, including an edit when Sheriff Justice tells a state trooper to F off after the sheriff calls his vehicle a piece of crap. His expletive is obscured when a passing big rig sounds its horn. At the same time, using the F word would immediately require an R rating, and this self-censorship allowed the film to avoid this rating and to reach a much larger audience. However, the scene and the obscured expletive were played for comedy value and written as such, with a passing truck being the gag of the scene more than a way to avoid the censors. So that's why it has a PG rating. Okay, we've got an explanation for everything on Wikipedia here today. In 2006, a DVD re-release was issued of Smoking the Bandit, featuring a digitally remastered audio track with 5.1 Dolby comparable surround sound. Many of the film's original sounds were replaced. For instance, the diesel engine startup and run-up sequence in the opening sequence of the film were completely dubbed over with the new sound. A few other examples of sound effect replacement occur when the bandit takes off after getting the reluctant Cletus involved in the bet. The bandit comes to a screeching halt on a roadway moments before picking up Carrie, and when Buford's car top comes off, some of the original sound effects, such as Cletus's dog Fred barking, and the music, such as the final chase to the Southern Classic, were removed and replaced. Earlier DVD releases and the 40th anniversary Blu-ray of the film have the original soundtrack intact. Major portions of the audio background have been modified with different engine sounds or tire squeals from the original film. The updated version of the film features sound inaccurate for what would be produced by the Trans Am or the numerous other Pontiac vehicles in the film. The original sound had correct sounds that were usually recorded live as the action took place. The film was followed by two sequels, Smoking the Bandit 2 and Smoking the Bandit Part 3. Smoking the Bandit Part 3 just has Jackie Gleason, Jerry Reed, and that's it. No, Sally Field didn't show up for the third one. Anyway, the second film was a modest box office success, earning $66.1 million against a $17 million budget. They probably showed up for Sally Field. The third film, which had no involvement from either Hal Needham or Sally Field, contained only short cameo appearance by Burt Reynolds, revolved entirely around Jackie Gleason's character, was panned by critics, and was a box office bomb, earning only $7 million against a $9 million budget. That's very bad. Anyways, a series of 4 made-for-TV spin-off films, Bandit Goes Country, Bandit, Beauty and the Bandit, and Bandit Silver Angel, were produced in 1994 for Universal Television's action-packed, with actor Brian Bloom playing a younger version of the Bandit. The 3 original films introduced 2 generations of Pontiac Trans Am and Dodge Stealth in the television movies. In October 2020, a Smoking the Bandit TV series was revealed to be in development, with a pilot written by David Gordon Green and Brian Sides, and also executive produced with his Rough House Confederates Jody Hill, Danny McBride, and Brandon James, as well as Seth MacFarlane and Erica Huggins of Fuzzy Door. And that's the complete Wikipedia page. It only took me 48 minutes. I'm going to look up my my Netflix DVD here. What a crazy week! So I had the last on Sunday, and then followed by the 30-minute confession with Father Mike Monday night. He gave me as penance another hour of Eucharistic adoration. The following day, I had to take my son. The following night, I should say, I had to take my son for the holy day of obligation. Oh, we did English Mass in Belmont. The church was empty, man. Compared to Latin Mass, this church was like desolate. But the priest was decent. My son got some free stuff, including a free rosary and a free book. And I gave him the Catechism of St. John Paul II, which is like for bishops, but lay people can use it also. It's the book that Father Mike kept hyping to me. Anyways, the following night, Wednesday, just on a fly, I decided to take my son to Tacos El Griense at Hillsdale Mall. And who shows up at his comely young 7th grade social studies teacher who's devout Catholic. Oh my God. I asked her out on a coffee date, and I told her to come to my son's confirmation next year. The first thing I do when I see Father Joseph tomorrow is I'm going to ask him to give me a precise date and time for next year's confirmation so I can send it to this lady. I asked her out for coffee. She's so incredibly beautiful. I just want to marry her on spot. That's how much I'm in love with her. Oh my God. I talked to her on the phone many times about Catholic things, and she is so good looking. She's short, Filipino, chubby, very small breasts. And she's one of these out of dimension, like her body is completely out of dimension, like that. Like the lady in Cannibal Curse, but even more exaggerated. I can't tell you how much it was love at first sight. Let me just put it to you that way. Anyways, I invited her for coffee. She hasn't called me yet, which is kind of discouraging, but we'll see what happens. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. If I could marry her, that would be, if I could get my 2 previous marriages annulled and then marry her, that would be a miracle. But I don't know how I'm going to do movie reviews when when I'm married to her. She's going to be doing Catholic stuff the whole time. Anyways, coming down the pike for next week is Miami Vice, Season 1, Disc 1. Miami Vice, Season 1, Disc 2. Miami Vice, Season 1, Disc 3. In other words, on both my lists, Netflix and YouTube, I've got Karate Man television shows to keep me occupied for the next month. And Netflix is supposedly sending me 10 discs at once before they completely shut off my service, which is a nice parting gift, but it's not going to convince me to switch over to the streaming. I can get Prime Video for free, 30-day trial period, and then I think it goes up to $14.99 a month. Amazon Prime Video. So that's what I'm going to switch to. I'm going to give the Smokey and the Bandit big birdie finger to Netflix. They can go suck it. Anyways, I forgot to show you my Smokey and the Bandit disc. Maybe I'll take a picture of it and send it to you. Little Enos is in the bonus features, by the way. No sign of Jerry Reed. Well, as usual, I returned the disc Smoking the Bandit before I did this video. So I'll show you the other two discs while I'm trying to pull up the Smoking the Bandit DVD. 40-year anniversary edition. Did I watch the 40-year anniversary edition? I'm not seeing the disc. For Smoking the Bandit? Oh, here we go. Oh, here it is. I'm trying to take a picture of this. And then I'll show you the Smoking the Bandit disc. If I can do this, if the glare isn't too bad. See. Scratch that idea. I can't get it up here on my screen. Sorry for the delay. Let's see what else we got here. This is what I'm watching next. Escape from LA. Karate Man recommendations. Escape from LA. I'm going to be watching nothing but Karate Man stuff for the next month. And this is another Karate Man recommendation. The Karate Kid. So there you go. I'm up over 57 minutes. I told you about all the crazy things happening in my life this week. Mostly Catholic related, but potentially a hot coffee date for me next Saturday. If she doesn't call me tomorrow. She might call me Monday. We'll see how that goes. She called me back about my son's confirmation. She accepted my invitation, but I don't have a precise date and time, so I got to ask Father Joseph if he's done climbing Mount McKinley. I'll ask him tomorrow. Laters.